Alright guys, what is going on, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be running through my round 11 Indigenous round tips. But before we do that, let's take a look and see how we did back in round number 10. Alright, as you can see on the screen right here, in round number 10 I got a total of 6 out of 9 tips correct. I actually did alright at the start of the week. The only tip that I got incorrect on Saturday was the GWS tip, and then on Sunday I ended off getting 2 tips incorrect because the Lions and the Saints didn't get up. So that currently has me in 22nd spot in my own tipping comp, so I'm not like 3rd, 2nd last at the moment, and I'm on a total score of 56 points. Again, in first spot we've got Mr. Ray White, who got 6 out of 9 tips last round and is on a total score of 65 points and has a 1 point advantage at the top of the table. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's run through my round 11 tips for the 2025 AFL Premiership season. All right, we kick things off tonight at GMHBA Stadium for the big clash between Geelong and the Western Bulldogs. Geelong are coming off a big win over the Power. The Dogs are coming off a big win over the Bombers. What an entertaining game this should be down at the Cattery. You know, it's obviously the Bailey Smith Cup. Bailey Smith played for the Dogs, now playing for the Cats. And there's been a few words in the media back and forth from Bailey Smith and Bont. So yeah, it should be an entertaining game, this one, nevertheless. I'm actually going to be tipping the Dogs at in this one. I know it's at GMHBA Stadium, the home of the Cats, but I just feel like the Dogs, they've been playing such exceptional football the last few weeks. They're feeling really confident at the moment. They're actually looking very scary and looking like a tough team to play against. So yeah, I reckon the Dogs, they're going to get it done tonight at GMHBA. So I'm going to go the Dogs by a margin of 14 points over the Cats. Then we move on to Dreamtime at the G, the game between the Bombers and the Tigers. The Bombers are coming off that disappointing big loss to the Dogs. The Tigers are coming off a 4-point loss to the Kangas. Should be an okay game, this one. You know, the Bombers are not in great form at the moment after that loss, and then you got the Tigers who are 16th on the ladder. So it's a very interesting dream time at the G. I still feel like the Bombers should get up, though. I know the Tigers, they're in some okay spirits this season, and they played decently last round. But I feel like the Bombers, they'll get back into the swing of things, get back onto the winners list, and be able to beat the Tigers in this game. So I'm gonna go the Bombers in this one by a margin of 16 over the Tigs. All right, then we move on to Saturday footy, and we've got Carlton taking on GWS at 12:35 at Marvel as the first game. Carlton are coming off that 16-point loss to the hands of the Swans. The Giants, they're coming off that disappointing loss to the Dockers. So yeah, another game that should be interesting. You know, it's a 50-50 game in my opinion. It is at Marvel Stadium. The Blues, they'll want to play good in front of their home fans, and you know, Carlton fans normally pack out Marvel Stadium as well. And the Giants, they'll want to get back on track. They had a disappointing loss to the Dockers last round. So yeah, tough one to tip. But I am going to be going the Giants in this one. I just feel like they've been playing the better footy than the Blues have this season, and they should be winning this game. If not, our question's going to be asked about the Giants, maybe, but I'm going to be tipping the Giants in this one by a margin of 22 over the Blues. Then we move on to the MCG 4:15. We've got Hawthorn taking on the Brisbane Lions. Hawthorn, they're coming off that loss to the hands of the Gold Coast Suns. The Lions, they're coming off that 11-point loss to the hands of the Melbourne Footy Club. Yeah, both teams coming into this game off the back of a loss. So yeah, it makes for an interesting one, this one. We all know the thing that Hawthorn normally do beat Brisbane, especially at the MCG, and this is where this game is going to be held. So I'm actually going to be backing in Hawthorn in this game. I do think it's going to be a relatively close one, obviously, because Brisbane, they're still a good team. They're still very competitive. They're coming off a flag last year, so of course they're going to be competitive in this game. I feel like Hawthorn will get the job done at the G, and they're going to get it done by a margin of 8 points, in my opinion. Then we move on to Marvel Stadium. We've got North Melbourne taking on my Pies. It's the family rivalry. It's my brothers taking on me. That sounds weird, but you get the point. North Melbourne, they're coming off that 4-point win over the Tigers. My Pies are coming off a 10-point win over the Crows. Now, if we're going off last year, this game should be a decent game of footy. You know, we had to come back from 40 points last year, and it was also at Marvel Stadium like this game is. I hope it's not the case. I unfortunately won't be there. I'll be at a birthday party instead of this game. But yeah, I hope that my Pies get up. I will be tipping my Pies in this one. I do think it's going to be a weird, wacky game of footy. So I'm going to tip us by a margin of only 23 points over the Roos. Then we've got the last game on the Saturday. It's Freo taking on Port Adelaide. Freo are coming off that inspiring 30-plus point win over the Giants. The Power, well, they were just disappointing last round against the Cats. So hopefully they can be competitive in this game. Well, more competitive than they were against Geelong, especially considering that game was at the Adelaide Oval. I don't know how Port Adelaide got kept to 39 points, but they did. Hopefully they are competitive in this game, but I'm going to be tipping the Dockers in this one. Hopefully the Dockers take a shit ton of confidence from that win over the Giants and bring it into this game and get the win, because I am tipping them by a margin of 34 points over the Power. Righto, then we move on to the 3 Sunday games, and we kick it off at the Adelaide Oval where the Crows are taking on the Eagles. The Crows are coming off that 10-point loss to the hands of my Pies. The Eagles are coming off their first win of the season over the Saints. It was. I don't think they'll be picking up a win here, though, the Eagles. I think the Crows are obviously going to be too good. And I think the Crows are going to win by a big margin. So I've tipped the Crows by a margin of 44 over the Eagles in this one. Then we move on to the 3:20 Sunday game. We've got the D's taking on the Swans. I swear this game is normally at a 3:20 time slot, and it is again. You know, Melbourne, they're coming off an impressive 11-point win over the Lions. The Swans, they're coming off a not really impressive, but a win nevertheless over the Blues by a margin of 16 points. Geez, the D's have been in some decent form throughout the last few weeks. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games. The Swans, they've only won 2 out of their last 5, but I still feel like the Swans will get it done over the D's in this one. But if the D's do win, geez, they're looking all right. I am going to be tipping the Swans. I do think it'll be relatively close. Jesus. But yeah, so I'm only going to be tipping the Swans in this one by a margin of 17 over the D's. Then last of all, we've got the game at Marvel Stadium. Jesus, how many games are there in Victoria? There is a lot. We've got St Kilda taking on Gold Coast to complete the round. The Saints, they're coming off that loss to the hands of the Eagles. The Suns, they're coming off that, I think it was 8-point win over the Hawks. Yeah, the Suns, they're just in some terrific form at the moment. They've won back-to-back games coming into this game. They're looking good this year. They're 3rd on the ladder. So yeah, I'm going to be tipping the Suns in this one. Hopefully the Saints can be competitive. I mean, they would have been disappointed with how they played in that game last week against the Eagles, considering especially when they were versing the Eagles hadn't won a game to that point. So yeah, hopefully the Saints can, you know, show a little passion in this game, but I still feel like the Suns will be a little bit too good. And I think the Suns are going to win by a margin of 30 points after all that. But yeah, those are my tips done and dusted for round number 11. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this round of footy, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll catch you later this weekend. Cheers.